Oh, hello.
Hi, Craig.
Hi, Craig.
Cool. All right, guys.
I'm assuming we're starting at the top left.
Yeah. All right. Welcome back to the show. Today, we're going over what we want out of Classic Plus. If you're on YouTube and you like this topic and you like WoW in general, every other video you see now is like Classic Plus.
Oh, I'm so excited.
But a big question is like, what should actually be in Classic Plus? How much should they change? Now, the community has gotten a hold of it a good bit and has changed a lot of things. If you look at a couple of different versions of WoW that the community has created, everything down to Ascension was a completely classless version of the game. Pretty crazy. There's also things like Turtle WoW, where it's basically a community-driven Classic Plus made by a team. And then now, apparently, this is going to be a thing. So, but we've compiled a list from different various creators, some stuff of our own about what could or could not be in Classic Plus, and we're going to kind of go through everything. So as we go through, let us know what you think, and we'll see. But guys,
to be fair, officially we don't actually know if Classic Plus is coming out. We're recording this the day before we officially find out.
Yeah, this is the day before BlizzCon. BlizzCon starts tomorrow. It's in Anaheim, California. It'll go tomorrow, over the weekend, stuff like that. There's going to be a lot of coverage, a lot of topics to go over, but we're excited.
There's no way they open with Classic WoW.
No,
come on.
I don't
There's
know.
no
Pretty
way.
popular.
It's going to be like
it's pretty popular.
No, we're getting Kata and Psalm 2. I just hope that they say. I just hope they include Classic Plus in there as like a little teaser. Like maybe they do like Psalm 2, and then they have a little tiny. If you look really close, you zoom in. There's a little plus there just for giggles, and everyone's like, "Woo!" So then we have another year of speculating.
But what if it's not Classic Plus? What if they go Classic HD? Huh?
I'd be okay with that.
I'd
be okay with that.
But then, okay, well,
Classic Remastered.
Classic remaster. We'll call it Classic Remake.
Classic Rebirth.
Rebirth. Oh, that's a good call.
Reborn. Classic Reborn. Oh, there's a lot of good stuff.
Ooh,
like Classic
Reborn.
Okay. All right, but we're gonna go through this. If you're listening in, we'll read everything so you can hear what we're talking about. But if you're watching the YouTube video, here's the thing: you can literally see it on screen. That's awesome. Cool. And the team viewing, aka Tyler, can just draw whatever he wants. It doesn't matter. All right, get rid of those.
Yeah, draw something nice.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah, sponsored by Figma, right? Okay,
yeah, true.
So first we have all right, so some of the things we've talked about before is should they change the graphics of the game? Is that a thing? Is that cool? Personally, I think I love HD graphics. So there's a private server that you can play called Ascension. It's a completely different version of WoW. It's crazy. It's nutty. That's a whole nother topic. But they actually have a setting where you can actually use classic graphics or retail graphics. Completely same mechanics, both sides. But you get to choose between the look, which I think is actually pretty cool.
I agree.
I'd
love something like that.
You can kind of do that now, and
no, I mean it's a big difference. They literally go between Cataclysm graphics or classic graphics because the graphics really started to change in Cataclysm.
Okay. I mean, I think it'd be really cool, but I feel like it's also just gonna get rid of the nostalgia of the game as well. But I mean, maybe that's not what people are looking for. They like the classic mechanics, they like the world of classic, and they just want to revamp the graphics. I mean, sure.
Yeah, but for me,
pretty cool.
This is literally an on-off button. It doesn't change the game at all. It just changes it for the user.
Right. So kind of like what they did with I think you watched we played Diablo 2 Resurrected.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool, very, very cool mechanic in that game, or not mechanic.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah,
option of bringing back the OG graphics to the nice, reamped graphics. It was really neat. For those who want to play the game in original D2, so be it. And the ones who wanted the nice graphics because they don't like playing games that look like shit, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, classic era graphics don't look terrible by any means, but I would love having the option to flip between the two, have the better updated graphics, and be able to go back to the OG if we wanted to. I think that'd be a really cool idea because I agree with you, Alan. I think it was a fantastic feature that they included with D2R. As somebody who, as you know, recently grinded to level 99 in Diablo 2 for the first time ever.
Now, here's a question.
I can tell you, if I had to do the OG graphics in D2, there's no way I would have made it.
That was going to be my question. I know we're getting a little off topic talking about Diablo, which is the love of my life. Did you ever actually go to the
A
original
couple times you
graphics?
forced me because
Just to
you
mess
were
around?
part of chat and you said chat wants to see old graphics.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
being a hammered in paladin. Oh, dude, it was such a nightmare. Like I had no idea where my hammers were at. I had no idea what was going on. I was just like, no, I had to switch back. It made
So
it. Let's just say the better graphics made it a lot more enjoyable when I was on that grind.
I agree. It's just like it still felt. It definitely felt just like what I thought it was like 20 years ago.
Oh, absolutely. When you think
With
back,
the graphics,
you're like, man,
it was
I remember
crazy.
those
I was
graphics.
like, holy
so
crap! Right, exactly. And then having to resurrected, it felt like it was the same. Obviously, it wasn't. Once you go back to the graphics, like, oh my god,
You're like, oh god, what the hell?
Did I actually play this game? That's insane. I thought this was really good. So another thing, with the graphics, like, what are we thinking in terms of graphics? Are we thinking we're just going to take like retail WoW graphics and just integrate them into Classic Plus or whatever they want to call it?
Yeah, I mean, personally,
or do you think they're going to go with a different engine?
Yeah, I think this was more of a point for point for you, Max, right? I'm pretty sure you were a lot more interested in like doing the HD graphics.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've only dabbled in retail for a collectively probably 3 hours in total.
It's beautiful.
And you hit max level, beautiful.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Because they have all the boosts. It's easy.
Yeah, seriously.
The game begins at the end. Yeah, it's a pretty game. It's fun to play. It's really shiny. A lot of just shooting a simple frost bolt, is cool looking.
Whereas it looks damn good.
I mean, with Vanilla Classic, unfortunately, I mean, people like it, but it looks like a game from 2006 because it is. There's
the beauty of it.
It is beautiful. It is beautiful. But do you not ever see those videos online about like Unreal Engine WoW 2?
Oh, we watched that one, like the Unreal Engine 5 Westfall. Did you watch that one, Tyler? It was interesting.
I did. I wasn't a huge fan of the Westfall, but the Ogrimmar one was amazing.
Yeah,
I mean, it was really interesting to see someone else's perspective.
Try something different. Yeah, I agree.
It was cool, but I didn't think it was all that great. It was cool, but not that great.
I think if it's a change that just doesn't affect the game truly, then it's a fine change. Like it just helps the player get more into the game because it looks cool, and then you can just have an on-off switch, just like in Diablo. I think it's a completely fine change. It doesn't affect anybody. It doesn't cause any harm. So,
right, and I definitely think on Blizzard's behalf that it'd be a good business move. Because a lot of people don't want to play games like this that are outdated graphics. A lot of people just want the nice, shiny graphics, right? So, I think it'd be a good thing.
HD graphics are cool. Now, another one is like voice acting for more quests. So and I think this also just leads into like better quest lines, because when I was playing Classic, I literally skimmed over everything. I just hit accept and moved on. I didn't read anything.
Yep, I agree.
So like if there's more
cutscenes,
more interactive things.
Yes, to an extent. I think some of the bigger points in the lore, yes, the cutscenes would be great, but kind of like the side quest shenanigans. I mean, I feel we leave it as it is.
I mean, didn't they do?
But you can always skip it,
didn't they do something similar? Like there's like a mod or like an add-on or something in retail that does something similar to that, but they use like AI voices or like they take voices from the original game or like from the game and put it into like quest dialogue and stuff. I could be wrong about that, but I think there already is something kind of like that, but it's like third party with an add-on. I don't obviously not in Classic.
I have heard.
I mean, there's an add-on that I use in Classic called Immersion that's kind of neat. That changes the whole UI and like whenever you're talking to a quest giver, it pops up like their icon with their moving, talking mouth and stuff. It's a more like updated version of questing. I mean, it's exact same quest, exact same everything. There's no voice acting or anything, but it actually makes the text enjoyable to read and easy to read versus like the scriptic looking text they normally would use. So if it improves quest lines and stuff, I think it's fine. Why not? I mean, like it's a lot of legwork on Blizzard's side to make that kind of stuff happen, but that doesn't that doesn't take away from the game, I don't think. Like, I mean,
nope.
So, like
I agree.
Even things like incorporating like in retail how basically questy is just built into the game. I think that's totally fine. because everybody needs Questy anyways to actually do quests.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely. There's
we
no
can
way I'm
get
reading
into-
quests. I'm too lazy.
We can get into add-ons and stuff.
Yeah, later.
Oh, that could be a whole nother
Yep.
episode too.
Exactly.
I need to take like 2 minutes. I'm gonna go fill up my drink real quick.
Yeah, no problem, buddy.
Oh,
Boost.
pause.
Twitch Prime. Twitch Prime. Twitch Prime.
Yes, please like and subscribe to our channel. If you don't give us a Twitch Prime or bits or a tier 1 sub, then
Then
well,
Alan will play hardcore. You don't want him to do that.
you can go. Actually, not.
Oh, you don't want to play hardcore? Wait, okay. So what level did you get to? I know your mage kind of died to
But no,
Billy.
we still
don't talk
got
about that.
a level. No, we don't talk about that. Not on the pod. Unless you want to hear me rage.
I mean, this is kind of
no,
like
we
the
still
break.
have-
Who knows if this will actually be in
We
here,
still no, it's fine. It's fine. We still have a level 15, I think, warrior potentially. I know, huge man, level 15, made it a long way. It's been a long journey.
but I didn't make it much further. I made
And
it
I
like
got
24.
I got scared to die, so I stopped playing it. No, actually, we just started playing classic. We honestly just started classic. I was like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, that's an unbelievable story.
Because I actually was pushing the warrior, and I was enjoying it. It was a lot of fun. Obviously, we had a couple sketchy moments, as you've seen. I do believe we have that clip still.
Oh yeah,
I
we
think, right?
probably do.
one
Oh
in
yeah,
Westfall?
absolutely. It should be on your Twitch channel.
Oh yes.
The one in Westfall,
that
yeah.
that was great.
Good times.
Yeah, you should be careful.
Well, you still need to get a YouTube channel so you can post it
Really?
on YouTube. Those are really good.
Yeah, once I actually start streaming again, I mean, I got affiliate, and then I kind of just fucked off
Yeah, you
on
did.
it. But well, I mean, with a lot of help of the Diablo 2 community, so that was really shout out to
that was fun.
shout out to my man Human Centipede. He was a lot of help on that, and a couple other really good, solid dudes in D2. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun watching you run around doing like
Well, I mean,
helping out the community and like doing farming.
the
stuff like that. It was
community
kinda cool.
though of D2 was what makes you play the game, man. Everyone, I mean, more so now. Played D2 back in the day.
All right, I'm back. Sorry.
It just wasn't the same.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a clap.
It's
I can
crazy.
See it in the audio. Okay, big audio spikes. Lovely. Cool. So moving on. I mean, those are kind of like the off-topic updates. It'd be sick to have, I think, but doesn't necessarily break the game or change too much. But going on to things that fundamentally do change the game, we're talking about experiencing leveling topics. A big topic people kind of talked about is having like no mage boosting, alternatively change experience, stuff like that. What do you think?
I'm very biased as a mage booster because I usually level a mage on a secondary account, so I can level every single class on my main account. I am completely against no mage boost. I don't mind if they were to like increase the EXP of like quests or add more quests into the game and like more dungeons and stuff, through the leveling process to kind of offset some of that and make like in my opinion, what they should do is just increase, like, give people reason to go out into the world a lot more than just like experience, or like make the leveling experience a little bit less grindy if you're just doing like questing and killing mobs and stuff like that. Again, I'm just very biased as a mage booster myself. That boosts myself. I do not want to see them get rid of mage boosting. I don't mind if they reintroduce the AoE cap because I can still boost through that. It was a lot of fun grinding out the Princess Dagger in Maradon and being able to do the Flame Strike and get all my mana back. It made it a little bit more complicated, which was cool because that just means not everybody, because you're not just Blizzard spamming, so people couldn't just willy-nilly like learn how to do it in 5 minutes. You actually had to be a little bit more skilled, which was kind of cool. But if they brought the if they brought the AoE cap back in, I would be okay with it. But just don't completely remove mage boosting.
I think the AoE cap was, I'm personally kind of a dumb change. Like, it was them trying to mitigate boosting without really doing it. It was like a quick fix that they had almost no testing to think maybe this will work. We'll just throw it in and see if it works. It was,
right. Again, it was just a symptom of the actual things on that one.
And I don't really care anything about boosting at all personally. Like, there's in some ways where I really enjoy leveling and other ways where I hate it. And if we were talking about originally, if they added in a bunch of quest lines, added in down the road, we were going to talk about adding in like new dungeons and stuff, more opportunities to actually get experience in a fun way. It'll naturally mitigate boosting because, frankly, leveling in classic is quite a grind. I don't mind the level experience cap or like how much experience you get, but if you're going to level every single class in the game, you're going to spend 1,000 hours,
and that's what it is.
So easy
for me. I'm thinking about, okay, you have Classic Plus, and I think it's gonna be hype, of course, and it's gonna bring, I think, new players to the game. Okay, just like Hardcore did.
Oh, absolutely.
For me, like when I first played Classic or Vanilla WoW or TBC, really I started playing TBC. But anyway, the game started at level 1. You're grinding your way up from level 1 to max level would be 60. The majority of your time was spent leveling. The leveling experience was incredible. I think that is a huge part of the game. And I would hate to see it get dissolved by increasing, XP 3 times with what we see there. And the boosting, right? Like I can go both ways because again, I'm a mage. I loved being able. It was like a puzzle. I loved being able to figure out the boosts and stuff. Being able to do it, accomplish it. Getting boosted though was kind of like you pay your
you didn't
booster
have
the
fun
gold.
doing that, just sitting around doing nothing.
It was exactly. That's my point. I mean, you could have count up. You could do other stuff. You could hang out with buddies as we do. And I hate to say it, being a booster to an extent, I say get rid of it. At least for now.
Okay.
And let the players play, let them progress together, let them do the quests together. And that's getting on the topic of putting more quest lines in there, making the classic leveling experience a lot better because you're kind of scattered with classic questing. The zone out levels you. You do like, let's say 10 quests in Westfall or whatever, and then shit, I'm not high enough level to kill these guys. I got to fly all the way over to Dunmorrow.
Yep.
And do a couple quests here, then come back. Like you're kind of all over the place. I do believe like retail started to get that where each zone you can just finish that area and then move on to the next one. So I think that would be really cool from the do. I don't know what's your kind of thought on that one.
So some of our
this is coming from a mage booster.
Some of our past thoughts.
Sorry, guys.
Number one, mage boosting in itself is actually a pretty interesting feat to see done. Like actually figuring out a dungeon and doing it is
a
lot
puzzle.
It's a lot of fun to figure out and actually learn. Like the ZF pull, once you accomplish it, you're like proud of yourself for figuring it out. It actually makes it makes you a better player.
Which I just did, and that felt good.
Yeah,
that's really
fun. Yeah, I saw that. That was good.
Felt damn good.
The point we have here is, at this point, if you're listening, it's leveling upgrades. This is kind of an idea that some of our buddies had. So, like your first character, regular experience to 60, like X times 1 experience to the 60. But once you hit 60, you feel the grind. But once you hit 60 on your first character, your second character gets like a small experience boost where it could be whatever percentage you decide. Maybe it's like a 10% more. So you're leveling 10% faster all the way to 60. And on your second alt, your third character, you get a 20% XP boost. I don't know. Maybe that could alleviate some of the leveling pains. Because frankly, once you're at 60 and you're doing in-game content on like, let's say like your main's a warlock, your first thought is like, I want to get another character to 60 so I can do in-game content. And because you've already did the experience, you've already had the leveling experience and it was a lot of fun. You don't necessarily want to do it again because it is quite a grind. So that's why boosting was invented in the first place, is because you're in a guild, you're raiding. He's like, oh, I could level a warrior to help off tank on the other raid in our raid teams, whatever. But it takes so long to get to 60, the old fashioned way that like, and if you have a job, you're doing things during the day. It's really hard to grind out that however many hours. It's like straight.
Yeah, for the casual player, I can.
Oh, I mean, you're looking at least 7-day playtime for the most part. For the average person, it'll take about 7-day playtime.
Yeah.
It can honestly,
for a casual player who wants to get to 60 and do end game content,
it can take like 2 to 3 months, especially on a paladin.
Oh god, yeah.
it could take a long
again,
time.
I hate to say this again. Like I brought it up earlier, I think, but it's like it's a rush to 60. Everyone's gonna be sitting at 60. and it's going to be when you're a lower level, you're a casual player, you're falling behind to the the Chads who are just hightailing to 60. Everyone's at 60. You have no one to group up with to do like low end dungeons and do the quests with because everyone's already 60. So that's where I can kind of disagree on that. Leveling up that alt and having that experience again as you're leveling up your main and doing with different people, maybe meet some new people along the way. The social aspect of the game, and just doing all over again with a different class. Learning like progressively learning your class. I don't know. I think that just kind of gets rid of it instead of just getting boosted or quickly flying through the game and getting level 60 and you got no what you're doing with your class and maybe you missed out on some really good social experiences and stuff.
Yeah.
That's like my kind of take on it, but I mean it can go both ways.
Yeah. I think it all comes down to choice. It's
Right.
a really complex topic on how boosting affects the social aspect of the game.
That's why we play the game.
Right.
For the most part.
So it's an interesting topic. What do you guys think? But moving on, we have here harder fights on older content, introducing more mechanics. It's kind of like a season of mastery type system. Personally, leave the mechanics alone, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just want to loot Pinata. I just want to loot Pinatas.
We want to go in there with world buffs fully consumed and just absolutely obliterate the boss and get our loot.
Now, when they say older
pretty...
content, are they talking about like raids or are they talking about dungeons? Like introducing like higher level dungeons?
Maybe like
could I do Dead Mines at level 60?
Maybe like a heroic format of the dungeons. Sure. Or
yeah, like there'd be like a heroic. Yeah, like a heroic Dead Mines at level 60.
That'd actually be insane, like a level 60 Dead Mines.
Yeah, or maybe not even heroic, but maybe it'd be considered heroic, but it would just be a level 60 version.
Which is what they kind of have in retail. You could be like max level and do Dead Mines.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't have that level
mobs
scales,
will scale.
Right? Yeah,
but it still scales to the mobs. I think that's kind of interesting. But anyway.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the retail version where like you can be in a dungeon with a level 10 and be level 60 and you're like, how is this level 10?
Level 10's kicking your ass.
Yeah,
that was my experience in Shadow. I was like, what the hell is going on here?
There is something super cool about like a level 60 rolling up and just nerfing Hogger for you to do the quest.
Agreed.
It's actually pretty cool. Yep. It's like you see this like how powerful you can become in the game when you've never done it before. And like in retail, when you're going from zone to zone, everybody's basically the same because the mobs scale with you, which I think is pretty dumb personally. So
yeah, I don't like the idea of level scaling.
I kind of want to brush up on the content difficulty increase. So doing that extra difficulty, whether you're going to call it heroic or whatever, what's the reward? Are we getting better gear? Or are we just doing it just for, hey, I fucking did it? Because that obviously matters.
So this
because that's going to sway a lot more players to do the harder content, and that's getting to more the hardcore players, and that kind of gets rid of the casual players, right? Because they're gonna get the good gear, and then the casual players are kind of like,
all right. So when the gear is better, so personally, I do think it is a good thing overall. There's more good than bad for getting better loot in harder dungeons because it is.
Well, you want a reward,
right? But the reason I think that it would be okay to add harder loot is because with a Classic Plus system, in my opinion, if they added a bunch of new content in the game, the better gear. Let's say from like Dead Mines Heroic or whatever, which it or whatever, however we could make Dead Mines harder. I don't know. The gear is just helps you out like in the leveling experience in the new zones because those new zones are harder, stuff like that. Like it would even itself out. It's not replacing high level gear at all. It's just replacing lower level gear in some sense because like frankly, when you get the chess piece from Dead Mines, you can keep that chess piece for like 20 levels. You know what I'm saying? Why not just keep it
for the staff or
why not just keep it for 10 levels instead and get something better sooner, and then just have more options for more gear, which means you'll be playing the game more,
I guess, but I like that rewarding feeling going to like Dead Mines and that staff. Like you're holding on to that for a long time.
But yeah, I think
same with SFK, like getting those shoulders, that belt, the chest piece, man. You're just like, holy shit, man. I'm set for a while. Right. I don't want them to ruin that going into, I don't know.
So so for instance, that staff, Emberstone staff has 8 intellect, 5 spirit, 5 stamina. Maybe the heroic version of that staff, or the heroic version
gives
of
you
10 intellect and 8, like it's just a little
right.
bit
If it gives you like one more stat on top, like a little, little sprinkle on top, I'm okay with that. But if it's gonna be drastically better, I don't know. It hurts casual players.
Yeah, I don't want the power
or
creep
the players
to
who
be
are not
too high.
so exactly. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Where it just overpowers, the players who might be as good at the game, and still give them the chance to have some decent gear and not be absolutely crushed by those other players.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, I think, and personally for me, I don't like necessarily holding on to an item for 30 levels. I think it's fun to get new upgrades pretty frequently. It's because there's certain dungeons that I just won't go to because there's nothing for me. There's nothing in there, and like there's like no for a tank in the temple of the Swamp of Sorrows temple.
Sunken Temple.
The Sunken Temple, or there's like whatever.
There's like hardly anything there for a tank. It's worthless for a tank. So why would you go there? Unless you're doing.
So if they could add one juicy piece of gear to each dungeon for each class, that would be incredible.
Or like interesting, fun trinkets in the heroic versions, like cool trinkets, pets, different items, stuff like that. But there's a lot of that's a back and forth conversation. But that's also a loot pinata thing. We were talking about there's other points with loot here, but what about this one? More realistic arena battles. What about that?
More realistic arena battles. So rated DGs. Ooh. Again, I mean, I love it. I loved rated battlegrounds. But what's the reward for doing it? Are you getting better gear again? Like I'm gonna keep bringing that up. Because again, for the players who I'm always thinking about the casuals or whatever, right? You got to keep that in mind because a lot of classic players. I think it's a great idea for me because I absolutely, it's the reason why I play the game mostly. Not all, but
I think this could also
system. What is the system?
Right.
What's the reward? What are you getting? Right.
So
the idea is excellent. I love it.
So one of the topics on Classic Plus is making other specs viable. And this is where like a lot of the gear in the game only really currently in vanilla only kind of caters towards certain specs. It's just the way it is.
Yep.
So with all these new dungeons, heroic dead mines, maybe there's like different pieces of loot that would cater towards other specs. Like frankly, like a protection paladin, you truly need like intellect and spell power gear. Above everything else, intellect, stam, and spell power above everything else, and like that's kind of hard to come by in the game. There's no tier that really gives you that, like.
And I think that might be the hardest challenge for Blizzard. Saying that we get Classic Plus, I think that's going to be the biggest challenge for them is class balance and trying to rework some of the tier sets and gear in general. I think that's a big thing. Like you're not the game a lot,
and again not to allow PvE, too much of a power creep, because like the problem with adding a bunch of like new content, whether it's quests, dungeons, if they do arenas, RBGs, and either ranked battlegrounds or random battlegrounds, whatever you want to call it, like the problem with that is then the power creep. It's like, what's the point of doing it if you get one extra stamina on your piece of gear unless you're twinking out and you're trying to completely min max.
That's what it is, right?
Because the problem is if you don't give somebody enough of an award, why would they do it? They're just going to skip a lot of the newer content unless the power creep. Like that's the only thing I'm worried about. Not as far as like rebalancing some of the classes and stuff, but specifically for the gear, I wouldn't like to I just don't want to see so much gear that it becomes irrelevant. Like in my opinion, Diablo 3 and Diablo 4 felt to me. When you just they start handing you everything, and it's like you get your first green, and you're like, "Oh, this is cool." You get your first blue, you're like, "Oh, this is great." Whereas in Classic era, you got your first green, and you basically leapt out of your chair.
You're
Oh my god, I
vibing.
got
Yeah,
+1
you're-
stamina, +2 strength. That's crazy. You know, like
It definitely agree with that. Like
you
on
got
my
your
mage
first
when I was
blue, you
AV
got your first
grinding,
purple. Yeah, it was
I'm just
crazy,
like,
man.
oh my god, dude! I just got a pair of pants that has like +2 stam select. I'm like, holy shit, boys! This is huge, right? Foggers.
So I think as far as to go back to the specific point of arenas, me personally I'm not like too dedicated to PvP. That's not to say that I wouldn't change in Classic Plus and get a little bit more dedicated to it. I don't like the idea of arena at all. I like the battlegrounds. I like world PvP. I think we're playing an MMORPG where raids are 40 man. I think that the battlegrounds being 10, 20, 40 people, v40 people, I think is way cooler in my opinion than having 2v2 and 3v3. But that's just me.
So how I've always said I really love to see arenas in Classic WoW.
Yeah.
I've heard the discussion many times by many streamers and YouTube videos and blah blah blah.
Sure.
Personally, I love arena. I love that, being competitive, pushing your class to limits, finding different compositions. It's great. But what I didn't think about, which is what you brought up, is that it kind of eliminates the world PvP and maybe battlegrounds because everyone just wants to go in arena.
Yeah, because it'd be the most. You get the most honor, the most everything out of that. Most rewards.
Sure. Unless they just made arena as we just want to test our skills, like arena scrimmages. Okay, they could just throw it in the game. Nobody wants to do it. Fine. I think they should throw it in there for people who just want to mess around.
As like a casual thing, is what you mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So you and I were like, holy shit, man! Let's we're having fun doing some world PvP. Do you want you met someone out in the world? You're really good, man. Go mess around and do some scrims with no reward. I think that'd be just a small little interesting thing to throw in.
I can see that being a really good happy
medium. It's really fun.
Yeah,
and you get to learn different compositions. So when you when you actually go out into the world PvP and you bump into a hunter, you're like, okay, maybe that hunter did some arenas as well. Like he's got a good understanding of what he's going to do, kind of thing. It'll make it a little better. I guess it's a little bit sweaty at that point. Sure, arenas make it sweaty.
Yeah,
but it gives you, it makes you a little more knowledgeable in certain situations. And I think it'd be a really cool, just a little something to put in there with no reward. No reward. Again, I don't want that. I don't want everyone to just go in arenas and fuck off.
Yeah, it would, in my opinion, it completely ruin the world PvP aspect.
It would.
Nobody would want to do it.
Absolutely. And if it doesn't work out, if that's the case that everyone just wants to do scrims for, mind you, then so be it. Get rid of it.
Yeah. And speaking of PvP and PvE and getting all this stuff, there's a lot of PvP spec, PvE spec, different specs. And currently in Classic, you have to pay for respecking costs. It's just a terrible gold sink.
There it is.
Should we keep or remove respec costs? Yeah or nay?
Completely remove it.
Do we want to do dual spec or remove the cost? Because I'm thinking cost opposed to dual spec.
I think that either would be fine. Either give us dual spec and have it be a decent, make it another 1,000 gold or something crazy, have it be a decent gold sink, or to kind of help with inflation for long term. Or I would just either remove it or make it no more than 5 gold per respec. I think being capped at 50 gold is ridiculous.
Give us both. I'm thinking for the hybrids. Okay, so you're a paladin or druid or whatever. Okay, you have dual spec. You still have to, if you want to do, for example, prot paladin, and you want to be able to do holy as well. Maybe once in a while you want to go out in the world. I know we all know that paladins are kind of trash, at least in vanilla classic. Maybe you want to go ret and go fuck around and go do some world PvP. You want to bonk some boys or whatever.
So
you still have to respec.
If you
you can't just click the button to go in the
right.
Why not both?
If you remove the cost completely, you don't need dual spec. You just need to respec in a city. That's it. Every time.
Right. And what I'm thinking is it would be a quick okay, I agree with going to town, of course, because that'd be absolutely ridiculous. Just out in the world and you're and you get out of combat, you click a button, you switch your gear, and you go and
it'd be really broken.
But I do agree with that. But I just mean
I think they should.
It'd be nice to be able to just go into town and just click a button, go to your second specialization, right?
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
I
Opposed to having to go to a main town, go respec, click all your talents, right?
Yeah, personally, I think you could just
Or just give me tri spec. Be able to have 3
fair
specs.
enough.
Well,
I'd be okay with
whatever it is. Whatever it is. Why not? Why not be able to have 3 different specs that you like,
spec.
especially for sure.
I
mean, we have an add-on that allows you to click a button, whatever it's called, and it's talented, and you just you set up your different templates, and away you go.
I mean,
why not?
I think it just yeah. I mean, personally,
it adds more playability to the game.
Yeah,
I don't want to have to respec all the time. It makes me not want to play the game.
Well, I know you said specifically hybrid, but I was also like, I was personally thinking about my mages.
Even a mage.
Yeah,
Frost,
exactly. Yep.
Arcane, and fire. Why not?
I just personally, I think this is just for me. Just remove the respec cost and just
stupid
and just just respec in a town.
Give me 3 specs. Just so I can go to town and click a button. I mean, again, we have the add-on, but I'm trying to eliminate add-ons as much as possible, where you could just
So like me, I would just use the add-on and I'd use my templates. But with my add-on, I could have 50 templates. It doesn't matter. I could have 50 different specs included.
You're not wrong. Yeah.
So I could have more my way. But I think this is an easy point for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's just a win. It's a win for everyone. There's no reason not to have it.
And speaking of PvP, do you think they should overhaul the honor system? Is that a thing?
Ooh, the grind to rank 14.
I agree. Yeah, we should definitely.
I can't really touch on that because I never actually super grinded to rank 14. I got like rank 6 or 7.
So grinding to rank 14 it's
hard.
Is not only it's not just
it's almost impossible.
It's not only a time commitment, it's also a statistics commitment. You have to do it the right way. And it's not just, hey, I'm going to PvP a shit ton over a 6-month period kind of on the side, and eventually I'll be rank 14 because I've just done it so much. You can't do it that
add-on you actually need. There's like community.
Right. Like, so
you have to hit it.
How the ranks work in Classic, there's a pool of people at rank 14 that can keep that rank, and somebody has to lower their rank for you to get in. You can't just if we just PvP'd me, you, us 3 together, right? You couldn't eventually get rank 14 just because you've just killed 100,000 people, Yeah, well,
the vast majority of people that hit 14, they get 14, they buy everything you can buy at rank 14, and then they just don't care anymore. Then they just do like world PvP. They finally enjoy the game and have fun. And I think that's a really crappy system.
Yeah, so
I think it's a really crappy system.
To get rank 14, others have to lose rank 14, and that's a weird system because
and there's only like 2 to 4 every single week maximum that hits rank 14 anyway, and that's assuming that you have. That's assuming that each person that's in the bracket system has 8 different alts that are all getting 10 honorable kills for the week, and they're all working together. It's just ridiculous. I remember talking to Fallacy about it a little bit. Hi, Fallacy, if you're listening. And he got up to rank 13, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm still like two weeks to a month out at my current grinding session to go from 13 to 14. I just think it's ridiculous."
Yeah. I think
not worth it.
I don't know what system would be best.
That sounds like zero fun.
The current system needs to change, but I think that if we hung out and PvP'd and did battlegrounds together for 4 or 5 months, just kind of casually, we should eventually be able to hit the top rank. Because
absolutely, it should be like an honor or honor or kill count. I mean, kill count's not going to work because you can kill and it's easy, but it should definitely be just an honor value. I've accumulated this much honor in my lifetime. Give me the rank.
And I can buy the gear because I've earned those. Just like kind of similar to Wrath, where you earn enough honor, you can buy the gear.
And it's still an accomplishment, in my opinion.
Yeah, it took a while to get all that gear.
I don't know if this is on the list somewhere later on, but included, in my opinion, in the honor system, they need to just fully remove dishonorable kills. I think dishonorable kills are just really toxic.
Such a pain in the ass, man.
It makes it so boring.
A good point. Very valid point. That sucked. It made you not want to group up with certain to do more PvP because if they go kill whoever, I mean, you get screwed. If
Yeah,
you
and
get
you're
3 or
close
4
enough, then
dishonorable
you're
kills,
screwed.
man,
you're
done.
You kill
Like, you're
you kill
done
an
on that character.
NPC,
Make a new character.
and you lose honor. An NPC, you lose honor. It's so stupid. Yeah.
Not just that,
Yeah.
it actually fucks with your ranking system. It's Tyler, maybe you can brush up on that a little bit more. But
No, I mean,
What was that?
I don't.
getting dishonorable kills actually fucks with your.
Yeah, I don't think we need to go into a lot of
It's
detail on
harder
that,
to
but it's like
get in there. But anyway,
to rank up in classic WoW, you do not want dishonorable kills. And what's
Sucks.
crazy is everybody would be avoiding dishonorable kills, and as soon as TBC comes out, they said this would be like on your permanent record. It's not. It's gone. It's completely gone. It was dumb. Just remove it. Remove dishonorable kills completely. Just keep us moving along. What about combat add-ons? Faster battle reses and a consumables revamp for like raids and stuff. What do you think?
I think faster battle reses would be great. I think anything, if this is more talking specifically about like raids and stuff, I 100% agree. Like I think the downtime between wipes is just way too high. Like if you're trying, let's say like you're in Blackwing Lair and you're dying to, whatever boss you happen to be dying to. I don't think that it should be 10 minutes before you do your next pull. I think you should be able to just get right back into the fight pretty quickly. And having faster battle reses, I think would kind of help with that a little bit.
Sure.
I don't know if that's specifically talking about the cooldown itself or what, but I just think reses in general, they should just be faster to get you back into the fight.
Right. So, I mean, I don't want to take away from Drew's good. Battle reses are insane. But I think, when you wipe as a raid, you'll have to ghost run or walk, whatever, back to the raid. You got to get all your consumes back up and everything. I think something that would help it would just make you, I think, which retail did, I believe, where when you die, you all just get ported back to the beginning of the instance or dungeon.
Yeah.
I think that would help a lot.
Yeah, I think for raids and stuff, other people have talked about this. Just get ported to the beginning of the instance. It fixes a lot.
Yeah,
of
or have the graveyard
off
literally
topic.
right outside. Just have the graveyard right outside.
Yeah,
so
I
who
mean,
cares?
why have the graveyard outside? Just die. Everyone wipes at once. You're at the beginning of the.
Do you not remember the run back
dungeon.
from Max, the constant ghosts we'd see running back?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Oh.
I mean that was
a shorter run.
you
up
too,
hold on.
man. It sucks, but
I need this is a weird break, but I'm in BRD and I'm gonna get SGC right now. Here it goes.
Oh boy!
All
By the way,
right,
while we've been doing this,
will
I got
be
a
right
Black
back,
Lotus.
though. Nice,
Okay.
I'll be right back though.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I would say probably. I mean, how many more points? Oh, we have a lot of points. Okay, so we're like only we're not even like a fourth of the way through yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna I guess move along a little faster.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it just because it's really fascinating, like being able to talk about all these different points, and
We don't have to
obviously
go fast, but
yeah, I mean, it's just because obviously there's three of us. It's going to take longer than because I obviously some of this was from other streamers, some of these points, and like if they're talking like just to their audience, to chat and just themselves, like they can like rapid fire through some of this stuff and not because they don't have three different points of view. They just have their own.
Yeah, I don't care how long it takes.
Okay, that's fair. No, I was just kind of curious because I was like, do we need to go a little bit faster, or are we going at a good pace? I have no idea.
We can go a little faster. There's no reason to meander for sure, but definitely, it's not a bad thing to take a long time. I just don't give a shit. I did not get SGC, by the way.
Ooh, rip.
I got the blood.
That's in the chat.
I got the blood cop band, which is actually like way better. You want to see it?
Ooh, sad.
I got this instead. No, actually, it's good.
Blood cop band. Oh wow, healing. Okay.
Yeah, SGC is worthless to me.
Yeah, true.
Like,
I didn't realize that was. Yeah, okay. Damn. I mean, with the name of blood clot, it could have gone either way, either healing or like shadow damage or something. Something for like a warlock. But I like that. That's cool. But yeah, no, I think I know Alan's not here, but I think his point of having arenas but them skirmishes is kind of like without any reward is actually kind of a cool idea because it allow people to kind of just take a break from world PvP or battlegrounds or whatever to kind of just like group up and maybe compete against each other.
So faster battle reses. It kind of smooths over things. Consumable revamps. I don't know. Consumables. I actually like all the consumes in Classic. The min-max stuff is super sick. Like think about using like immolation oils in Raid, like just to get that little edge. I think that's super cool. Like I don't like that in TBC. I could use like you get one elixir and one thing. I'm like, what about all the other stuff that was kind of cool to use? Can't use that anymore.
It's nice to see all your buffs. Like you got like 4 rows of buffs. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, and also the more work you put into preparing for your raid, the better you do. You know, that's the whole point of like world buffs and all this different stuff. So I actually like those points. So that's a big yes. I love that. Faster battle reses, also like getting back to the dungeon.
Wait, so you said you didn't want to revamp like TBC?
No, we don't. We want to.
Yeah, so that'd be a no. That'd be a no.
Oh, you're totally right.
we want to keep. We want to keep the classic consumes. No, you're good.
I
was just thinking. I was like,
unless they're going to give us
mark it out
more.
Unless you want to give us more, but see, the problem with giving us even more is there's already a lot to grind and
you're not wrong,
and consumables to purchase for every raid, and then if the consumes don't survive through death, then you have to get even more every time you die, and it can be kind of annoying.
Okay,
I can understand the revamp, but like in that regard, if some of the consumes survive through death, I think that'd be way cooler because the downtime and the grind outside of raid would be cut down. But I don't think that was a revamp of TBC, right? I'm pretty sure TBC, for the most part, you still lost everything. Like you would lose your elixirs if you died.
Yeah, I think they should have
flask was.
Yeah, I think they should have more flask options because there were some great options for casters and tanks, but terrible options for DPS, like actual melee DPS. And they kind of fixed that in TBC.
For melee?
Nothing in Classic. It's only potions and elixirs and stuff. You don't get any flask or anything unless you want to use a Titan's flask.
I mean, I think you do, but it's outweighed by. I think there is one that's like attack power, but it's outweighed by like mongoose and stuff like that. So you never really went down the flask unless you were like poor. And I say poor as if like you didn't want, like you knew you were going to wipe a lot. Like sometimes when we were raiding with a different group, and I knew more than likely we were going to wipe a couple times, I would make sure that I brought a flask instead of all my elixirs, because those mongoose elixirs, especially right now, are insanely expensive.
And agility.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. I know in Classic, there are no flasks for melee unless it's a Titans. There's nothing. There's flask.
Yeah, they could definitely fix that.
Flask of Titans, flask of Distilled Wisdom, flask of Supreme Power, and flask of Chromatic Resistance. That's it. That's all there is in Classic.
It's either they give you new flasks or they just make the duration of the elixir or whatever. You just keep it until the 30 minutes is up, and then you reapply it, death or not.
Or it's an hour long. Each potion's an hour long, right? Yeah. So, all right, moving on. Spell batching. We're moving entirely. Yay or nay?
This is a tough one coming from a mage and probably from a rogue perspective as well. Some crazy stuff you guys could spell batch and go vanish and stuff. It was really.
Can you define spell batching for us real quick?
It sucks. From a rogue perspective, it was really cool because you had like over half a second where you could vanish absolutely anything that was coming your way, and you were totally fine. You can still do it. It's just a lot harder without spell batching. I kind of see spell batching as just lag for lag's sake.
It was their way to fix issues way back in the day where they just internet sucked, right? That was their way to fix it.
And they had spell batching
during the current day. During like the current day, where actually most people have decent internet, I feel like you get it. Why is it still there? I do get it. They didn't want to change Classic Plus. Yes, get rid of spell batching. It's a cool mechanic. Being some wonky stuff with it, but get rid of it.
But it's really nice when you try to heal somebody and it doesn't work.
Right, and it's also really cool when you spell batch on a mage while you're doing cold.
So we're gonna remove that. We got it. Introduce other massive quest lines like the AQ Gate quests. I'm just gonna go say yes and introduce a shit ton of quests. More content is good in my opinion.
Of course, it just makes sense.
Yeah,
that's just a win.
So I mean, with one of the new raids that they bring out, for sure they should do like an opening of the gates where like the entire server, not just not both factions have to come together and get mats and stuff like that. And like in my opinion, to kind of piggyback off of that, they should, in my opinion, they should change the mat requirements for the AQ gates. So then there's not people that are starting from day one immediately farming all the mats, and then there's like, you know, alliance and horde collusion, whatever. Like I think that they should, and they, I mean, they could come out and say it and say that they're going to change the mat requirements, or just have it changed when AQ40 is announced or like released or whatever, and just have different mats. I think it would be kind of cool. Just so then, like I said, people aren't, because like when Classic came out, everyone already knew that quest line. So from day one, people were saving their linen cloth, their rune cloth, their like all the different mats that you wanted. And within what was it like for our server, which was I think like a high pop at that point because the free transfers and stuff. Like didn't we get the war quest done to start opening the gates like in like 20 hours or something crazy? Like it was like within the first day, I think, that we had all the mats already turned in and on both sides. It was ridiculous.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, so I wouldn't mind them. I mean, they don't have to completely change all the mats, or maybe just have the same mats, but then include extras that they aren't going to tell anybody. That they could include, by the way, into the new raid or like the new dungeons.
Yeah, they should include black diamonds into that. So I can actually use these for something.
True.
Like, what's a black diamond
What
for?
the hell are those for?
I don't know.
Please, someone
You
tell
can't
us.
sell them. They have no value. I think it's a horde thing. Because I've never done.
And they just shouldn't drop.
Yeah, they shouldn't
For an
drop.
alliance.
Yeah, exactly.
So dumb.
So dumb.
Or at least give us a use for it.
Cool.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, so moving on to character customization and abilities. There's a lot in this topic as well. So some people have called it, like, I know Asmongold called it the boob sliders. That's why we put it here too. But like for more character customization. I mean, I'm all aboard for that. Like I personally, I like the hair salon where you can change like your character look and stuff.
Yeah, it's cool as hell. It's just another win.
Because like even on my current character in Era, I realized, did I actually pick the wrinkly face? Oh man, I wanted a different face. Like he's already level 60. I'm like, oh, I realize now that his face should have been different.
That was your choice, man.
Yeah.
Get punished.
Well, especially with a point that we talked about earlier about doing the HD graphics. I 100% agree that like they should do something like that where they'd add like a barber shop. Just so then, like, you know, because then you could change what your character looks like. And maybe you were looking at the OG graphics initially, and then you're like, oh, you know, maybe I upgrade my computer for a more casual person, or you decide, oh, I'm going to start playing on the, I'm going to start playing with the HD graphics instead. And then you look at your character, like, oh no, like what have I done?
I look like a piece of crap.
Yeah.
Look, we all want to spend numerous hours trying to figure out how he wants to look.
Oh, character
content.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
No, we don't need to go crazy like
great
that. We
content.
don't need to do like Bethesda craziness or anything like that. Just keep it like retail.
You said it. You said it. So
yeah, just keep it like retail, or you know, like
For
Cataclysm or whatever. Like keep those as options, and that's it. Don't go over and above.
That's a win. There's no reason not to have that.
We've already covered dual spec. We've already covered that, so that's fine.
Yeah, that's a win.
Consider adding new classes like DK, stuff like that. What do you think?
Absolutely not. That's a hard no for me. I don't want a DK in here.
I agree. I don't want. I mean, I would be okay with
maybe later on
newer classes, but no, I don't know if I want to see a Death Knight. Death Knights are really annoying.
Or maybe can we do different class combinations? Like a human hunter? Is that a thing?
Oh yes.
We want Gnome Hunter. Gnome Hunter.
How can you not have a human hunter?
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Blizzard, what the fuck were you thinking?
I really want the Bard class personally, but whatever, you know.
Oh, there it is. He said the B word.
Yeah, right.
Tyler, no comment.
Yeah, no comment. Yeah, no, I'd be okay with the race class combos being changed up a little bit, or like added. Ooh. So like a Gnome Hunter would be amazing. I think I said that right off the bat when you said that. I was like, yes, please.
Yeah,
because I love Gnome. Gnome is this.
Having said all of that, what do you think about having a shaman on the Alliance side and a paladin?
No.
I hard disagree.
Nope. I think easy, because like there needs to be some kind of difference between the two factions. Like you can't have it all. Like, you know, if you want to play shaman, you play horde. If you want to play paladin, you play alliance. And a paladin
I feel like it shouldn't be restricted to that.
Right.
But if you really like alliance, you want to play be a shaman? You really like the shaman class, or you really like alliance?
It's such a tough thing.
It is. I think racials are fine, but let us play what we want to play on Horde or Alliance. I really like that TBC did that. I think big plus, big win personally.
Shamans are definitely cool. There's no doubt about it.
I mean, it brings a completely different raid dynamic for sure.
Does it? I mean,
I think it's a win.
Lore wise, they had to like work it in because we get space goats coast to coast, space goats coast to coast. To actually,
no, just let me be a night elf shaman.
A night elf shaman.
I don't know, but I think I shouldn't have to, go on to a different realm just to play Horde to be a shaman. I would like to have all my characters on that account and be able to play whatever class I want, unless they're going to introduce being able to have Horde and Alliance on the same account. Then fine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I look, if there were shamans in Classic Plus on the Alliance side, I wouldn't complain. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a bad thing. I just,
it's a big change.
It's a big change, and vice versa. Because I do like playing a paladin, and if there was paladins on the Horde side in Classic, I mean, I would probably play Horde too because I could play paladin. So,
true. Because more options, man.
Exactly, and it doesn't necessarily take away from the game, but I mean, there is that also the fact that choosing your faction is a big deal because of that one class. And there's,
it's two sides to the coin on that one.
And
it's a tough one.
And frankly, the Horde racials hugely fair in PvP, big time. And it's like you give them all those racials.
If you're playing PvP, you're going on Horde.
Right.
Be real.
But the human or the Alliance racials don't really give you much, and they don't necessarily help you in the game in many ways.
Rating, yes, we can argue.
I don't know. I just feel like perception on a human does nothing. So,
when you can actually be a knight,
right? Like, does it help us? Does perception help in PvE? Sure, I can see the boss when he's in stealth. Like it doesn't really.
It's trash.
I never use perception, and it's such a weird racial that like it's very specific. Versus like an orc stun resist, which is incredible.
Oh, it's so annoying. Yeah, it's so annoying.
Orc stun resist is
get rid of that shit.
Is crazy good.
Get rid of that shit.
It's incredible. It's an incredible racial. Like it is.
Works
huge.
25% of the time. 95%.
Yeah,
5%.
But no new classes. But we're gonna say that be able to play Horde shamans and paladins on both sides. Okay.
I mean, I disagree with that. I like having faction representation, and the fact that Paladin is only on Alliance and the Horde have only Shaman, I think is kind of cool.
I
think it kind of sucks when they combine that in TBC. It was kind of cool initially, but the thing I like about Classic, at least on the Alliance side, is you're not so reliant for every single melee to have a shaman in their group, because if you don't have a shaman in the group, then it's kind of like in TBC where it's if you only have 4 shamans, not 5, then somebody's upset, and it just got kind of annoying.
But you could also rework. So this goes into our next topic of rebalancing classes. You can rebalance the classes to where like you don't need a shaman in every group because Wind Fury is different. Maybe Wind Fury works for more
raid
groups.
Wide.
Yeah,
like the whole raid or something.
The whole raid,
sure.
Like
that'd be insane.
But that would fix that problem.
That'd actually be wicked good.
No, I don't disagree with that. Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all.
That's music to my ears.
But that would be considered one of the rebalance for classes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
that'd be insane
for that point.
That would be
so the big point that most people talk about is rebalancing, and I think there's so much in this topic that we're not actually discussing, because so currently in Classic, like warriors do like so much damage, 30% more than any other class, the way everything is structured. So basically you have to bring you have to bring them down and bring others up, which means not only an overhaul for like, because some people say like they want to bring in make Moonkin viable, Retribution Paladin viable, Prop Paladin viable, even was that
Paladin?
We can, what? Honestly, let's be real here, okay? You can buff everyone except for Paladin.
Buff everybody except for what?
Everybody. No, you can
Paladin.
Yeah, just
except
Prot. You
for
can buff
Paladin.
Ret, you can buff Holy
Let them-
because they really need it. But Prot, leave actually nerf Prot. They're too good already.
I had to say it. I had to say it. No, I'm all about Prot. There's no reason why Prot should not.
Look, we can go. I could have
Or
a whole
at best,
show
a good off tank. I
on
know.
Prop
okay,
Paladin and like how
get into that
it is
next time.
it is actually a super fun tank class to play if you know how to play it. You have
Agreed.
to have a raid that like is cool with it. Number one, and you almost have to break the game when you learn how to pull threat on a Prop Paladin. It's crazy good. Nobody can keep up with you with threat, and especially
King spam.
so yeah, the king spam. So when you, I'll do the
Hell yeah.
Spark Notes version, but when you cast Blessing of Kings on somebody in raid, it's worth 120 threat. Now in those raids, especially in Classic, and there's 40 people in the raid, and there's like what 20 warriors, something like that.
yeah.
And you cast Kings on the warriors. That's
So we just need more warriors.
That's what is
more
that?
brown boys, please.
Yeah. So to give you some
that's
math,
the meta.
So when we were raiding, and I was raiding on a Prop Paladin, it's 120 threat per character. There was 20 warriors in a raid. That's 2,400 threat per cast, and you can cast kings every second. So, and actually, it's half a second. It's just on a cooldown, an internal cooldown. So
GCD, yeah.
a GCD. So in other words, I could generate so much threat in a raid that no one could touch me. Nefarian could be tanked. Everything could be tanked. No warrior could keep up with threat just because of the king's cheese. Granted, there's all kind of other things tanking with a paladin, like no taunts and stuff like that need to be changed. But moving on, definitely rebalance classes. That's an obvious.
Honestly, I'm kind of in the camp where you rebalance, but you don't really need to rebalance that dramatically. Like, I don't mind Ret Paladin being towards the bottom, Moonkin being towards the bottom, but I think that they need to do something where Ret Paladin closes the gap and they're not so far behind that if you bring two along, everybody's upset.
You can't play the class.
Like, if you bring one Ret Paladin, people are already upset, but you bring two or three and everyone says, I'm leaving. And like, do the same thing with a Moonkin. I just think that they need to do something where they bring them closer to the rest of the pack.
Yeah, I think
they give you the 3% crit with the Moonkin. I think that's about it, right?
Yeah, I think that what they could do is basically change spell coefficients to where like Retribution Paladins just do more damage in general. Just buff their damage and they're all of a sudden viable. So they can keep up with everybody else. And maybe add in some talents from TBC that made sense for the classes to even things out. Like, remember when we had
especially for the Prop Paladin.
Remember the pre-patch talents? That was fine. The pre-patch talents was really, really cool. At the very end of Classic, before TBC launched, we got the new talent trees, and that was it. And the game was fine. The game was actually more fun in a lot of ways, more fun to play because you could all of a sudden play different specs and stuff. I even think that Arcane should be a viable spec for mages. Like, why not?
Like, have arcane missiles actually do something?
Yeah. Like, why not? I don't see why.
Right, like in TBC.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, but
was it TBC? Maybe Wrath anyway.
TBC, yeah, it was TBC.
It's hard to unpack this topic, but it needs to be done on some level. It needs to be done.
It's a lot. Again.
I mean, I can tell you it's above my pay grade as far as like what
insane.
they actually need to do to rebalance everything.
Completely changes the game with class bounces like that.
Okay,
but I think with the next point with the no debuff limit, I think having that would help would help Moonkins, and it would definitely help Shadow Priest
and Warlocks. Why
and
can't I not
Affliction
play my
Warlocks?
class?
Yeah, and Affliction.
Why can't
Warlock.
I play my spec or class?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you're a Shadow Priest? Oh, well, you can't do anything that a Shadow Priest does. You just have to mind play them. Great. Warlock.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why I say like
option.
That's why I say like
damaging abilities.
Yeah, well, that's why I say with like the rebalancing, they don't need to go extreme. But if they did something like remove the debuff limit and increase their damage even just slightly, it'd make a whole. I think it'd just make a big difference.
For Moonkin, getting back to that, it's not that Moonkins can't do a lot of damage. It's just their mana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, I definitely do something for their mana for sure.
Yeah.
That let them
maybe
regenerate
give
more
them like a
mana.
self innervate every 2 minutes or something.
Or just
whatever it is.
That's the thing for Paladin, like a mana thing. Like there was a talent that was introduced.
Yeah, we talked about that in TBC.
It's
Prod Paladin, yep.
Yeah, you return 10% of your mana on the heals you get. So like if somebody heals you for 1,000, you get 100 mana back. So your mana would basically be topped off on an entire boss fight. So no debuff limit. That's huge. It's a big deal. Just say yes. Don't even need to discuss it.
Just a win.
Yep, easy.
Buff enhancements, death proof world buffs, level 60 chromie item. I think the chrono boom was fine. It kind of fixed that issue.
I was thinking pretty good. I think it's great. Or I mean that, and just don't allow, which Blizzard intended. Don't allow priests and shamans to be able to purge your buffs, man.
I think some of them should not be
world
purgeable.
buffs.
Yeah,
the world buffs, absolutely not. And from what I have heard, that wasn't actually intended, but they just let it slide. They didn't fix it. They didn't do anything about it.
Yeah, the no changes crowd was crazy in Classic.
Be able to purge class buffs, fine. Done.
Yeah,
cool.
Easy fix. No purging of buffs. Just revamp world buffs in a way where you can't get rid of them unless you die. That's it.
Let them persist through death would be really.
That part would be a little OP, but I remember sometimes when we would say angry in and Nax Ramus, and then he'd immediately die. We say angry down, and then everybody else would wipe, and then the hunters and the rogues were kind of just chilling and excited because now we knew we were going to be at the top of the charts.
And like
because all the warriors died.
All of a sudden, a lot of people just stop trying because they don't have buffs anymore.
Exactly. That is true.
Right? It just it ruins it.
Yeah, and I think honestly, with the rebalancing of classes and also the way the Chrono Boom works now, like you just can keep your buffs until the first boss, so you're guaranteed to have them up until the first boss if you don't wipe. But when they rebalance the classes and stuff, like it'll make buffs less of a requirement to actually raid in some cases. Because we were like doing some GDKPs on White Main, and you want to pop buffs, and everybody's like no, and everybody didn't even use their buffs because they know they could clear the content, no problem. So, but
it's doable. Everyone loves to have that big dick damage with the buffs.
Well, yeah, let's be honest. Especially once you have the content on farm, you just want to be able to get your parse numbers higher.
Yeah.
So not to mention like the whole. I know we kind of like get kind of shitty about it at times, but the whole like going to get your buffs and stuff was awesome. It was so cool. Everyone flies into Westfall. They're all running stampede towards CG Island. I thought that was the coolest thing.
Yeah, and I
thought that was so fucking cool.
Agree.
And I think one big change that would make sense for that, just to keep us moving forward with these topics, is like making world buffs repeatable, being able to turn an Ani head more than once.
Yep.
On a single character.
Big agree.
Yep, of course.
I think that would actually be more beneficial to the raid.
Yeah, you complete the raid, you get another head. It shouldn't be counted.
Right, because on our server, when we were kind of running the world buff scene, we were running out of people to use to drop ZG and Ani, and it was getting super annoying to help organize and manage that over time. In the beginning, everybody has it, and it's no problem. But
I know it was super cool when like the server actually like, okay, well, heads dropping at 6 o'clock server time. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
You knew to log in on that time, and then we get the transfers, and it was just like, we're getting Onyxia buffs or whatever left.
Yeah, and it'd be really cool if like your entire raid has finally got their Onyxia head and their trinkets and their necklaces or whatever, and then like the raid can still go clear Onyxia, but like the raid leader can still pick up the head and drop Onyxia head for his raid team when they're going to Nax or something. So everybody is guaranteed to get the buff, and then all just roll over to Nax or whatever. I think that'd be great.
Well, something else to think about on that point is short term is not a big deal, like you said, but long term, and if Classic Plus goes, for let's say it goes for like 3-4 years before, let's say they ever decide to move on to like some form of an expansion or something where world buffs go away. We're really going to have that issue, 3-4 years into Classic, where it's like, okay, where is everybody? Like, if it's not repeatable, I feel like then people are just going to be specifically leveling a character, hopefully with Mage Boost,
with boost,
to level 60 specifically, so they can pick up the Oni head for the raid and turn it in. But I mean, that's just going to be obnoxious at some point. I don't think it's not a 2-year issue, but if Classic Plus goes, for as long as I'd hope, like 4 or 5 years or even longer, of course, it's going to become an issue the longer it goes, unless they open up making it repeatable.
Or they just get rid of it.
Oh,
introduce something else.
Or they do like what
better
servers did, where they just guaranteed the drop at a specific time. Nobody had to be there. Right. They just dropped it.
Yeah, the auto
I can see them doing it too. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Now this next topic, I don't even think we need to talk about because this is required. Enhanced threat awareness. Just move on. We all need that.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be an add-on. It just needs to be built into the game.
Yeah. Why is it not built in?
Exactly. Let's just skip it. Yes. Rebalance racials. I don't know.
That's a tough one. Again, we get back into picking your faction, being able to play paladin, being able to play, shaman on horde side. I think there should be, an up or a down to which race you pick. So I think keep it the same.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and say no. Don't change. I mean, I could see some cool rebalancing, but who cares?
Play. It's gonna make you think. It makes you think about which class you want to play, which faction you want to play, which race you want to play. You have to make a decision. For your casual player who goes, "Oh shit, I picked a human priest and I'm gonna raid." Well, that's unfortunate. You don't have Feared Ward. Get him out of here.
Yeah, that's the only thing I would change.
That does suck.
That's the only thing I would consider changing.
So I think
would be Fear Ward.
Asmongold actually makes like a really really strong point when he says character creation should never be a mistake. You should be able to play whatever character you want and it not be a mistake. So I think like how humans have a plus to swords, a passive plus to swords is stupid. I think that's dumb.
So you just give that to
I just
you just get rid of it completely, or you give that's it. Just get rid of it.
I think any kind of racials like that where like humans are just better with swords is stupid because that makes them the best tanks. It makes them the best warrior tanks because all the best tanking weapons are swords. So
get rid of dwarf priest then with Fear Ward.
No, I think I think that it's either like in TBC all priests had Fear Ward. Every priest gets it. So you can be a human priest and it's fine.
Yeah.
So what kind of racial is going to throw in there? Because that kind of gets rid of exactly that, what we're talking about.
Right. But
the race identity completely goes away if it's completely balanced.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what retail has done as far as like classes are concerned, and it's really it's just kind of obnoxious. Like every class has stun, every class has a get out of jail free card, every class has like some form of like a heal. It's like there's just no class. There wouldn't be any race identity at that point, and I don't fully disagree with it, but I do think that they should keep the racials. I mean, if they want to rebalance it slightly, sure, but don't go over dramatic.
I think. I don't know the exact solution, but what may be cool is to give some races just have an OP skill and others just don't. Like Fear Ward is a castable spell that you can use.
All the Forsaken.
Exactly. Right. You can use, and not every class gets that. It really truly gets that, and it's just dwarf priests that get Fear Ward, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Like,
and that's for Alliance and Horde, by the way. Literally only dwarf gets. So Horde don't even have it now. I mean, they obviously have like Tremor Totem and stuff like that. So there's ways to get out of them. Will Forsaken.
Yeah, but like, what does a human priest get?
Perception.
That's it.
You get nothing.
Exactly. They don't even get a spell. You get nothing. So like, you need to give them something to match it. Now, it doesn't have to be a Fear Ward. It could be like an additional heal, an additional, like another dot, another hot maybe. I don't know. I don't know what you don't want to make it too OP where it's like all of a sudden the human priest.
Yeah, so nobody wants dwarves anymore. Everyone wants to be human.
But at least give them like a choice, like kind of like balance it out. Think like well, in this situation, Fear Ward would be really good, or in this situation,
so it'd be a balance.
A human might.
You want 2 dwarf priests and 2 human priests. It kind of really balances things out.
I like that.
I think adding some shit would be good. I think the passive abilities, like better to swords and shit, I think that's stupid because like it makes you want to be like a specific type of tank.
Well, it makes
If
every
you're
warrior
raiding, you're a warrior.
Right,
You
right,
go,
like because like
if
you
you're
love
rogue, too.
you love playing a gnome rogue, but in raids you are technically at a disadvantage because of the racials.
No, only because I go daggers. If I was doing swords, then yes.
Yeah, but that
Yes.
limits your choices. Like you,
Well,
also
true,
great
but
for PvP with the gnome choice. Escape artist, baby.
right? Yeah, no, I think there needs to be some, not necessarily an overhaul, but additions to kind of balance things out. Like I think Fear
Yeah,
Ward
they
on
need to think
dwarves.
about it a little more.
I think Fear Wards on dwarves is great, but I think because I personally like playing a human priest because I'm a basic nanny or whatever. I don't
True.
I it's that guy. I just don't like playing the other weird elf races and stuff. I like to just be humans.
Well, on Alliance, you have
he's not even
humans,
playing
you
an
have
RP game.
very small humans, you have slightly small or not quite as small humans, and then you have pointy-eared humans.
Exactly.
So
Imagine playing a priest.
Yep.
True.
Anyway,
And then
so throw that in there.
Yeah, another one is maybe introduce the hunter focus instead of mana. I think that's a good thing. I think overall,
Big agree.
shit.
Big agree. Big
yeah,
agree.
I think it's a good thing.
Shit.
Just say yes.
That
No, that we don't even need to discuss. Just say yes and move on.
that's
No, that's a big yes. There. I mean, the only thing I could argue as far as mana is concerned is the fact that I can go out and farm dark runes or demonic runes, and it was kind of cool having that as like an option. But can you just give me a demonic focus rune or something instead, please and thank you? I'd much rather have focus. That's just my opinion. As somebody who played Hunter all the way into Naxxramas, I would much rather have focus.
being the hunter. Yes. Going against a hunter. No. End discussion on that one. Continue.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay, and the next
Yes
we
and
already this one's a duel that we already talked about getting rid of spell batching. So let's just go ahead and mark this out. And then an instant mail system. Yes, just mail works. Just
Of
instant
course,
mail.
that's
no questions asked.
stupidest thing. Why
Big
didn't
agree. Yep.
next?
So all right, cool. We just got through the character customizations and abilities. So we're gonna cut this episode here and go to part 2 to listen to more, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode.
Bye, guys.